This is the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport. Is this the most versatile Pilot trim level? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're at Holmes Honda to go over the particulars on this Pilot TrailSport and tell you about how it's not just badging and maybe some interior changes that make this the TrailSport trim level. There's actually quite a few things here that separate it apart from any other trim level in the Pilot lineup. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video to the Holmes Honda website. The exterior color is Sonic Gray Pearl and it has a black interior. As far as your exterior lighting goes, LED daytime running lights. We're also going to have LED fog lights. For those of you who want a Honda SUV with fog lights, here is a good option for you. And you'll see the TrailSport logo on that gloss black front grille. Nice large Honda logo there too. We're going to have our sensors up here, parking sensors and all kinds of great safety features. To help out with gas mileage improvements, we have the active air curtains right here that allow air to flow through this area, and it comes out right here. I like to show both sides. So there's where it comes out. You can see the daylight coming through there. Going back to safety features, we have Honda Sensing, and that's going to include adaptive cruise control, collision mitigation braking, lane keeping assist, traffic jam assist. All of those great things are going to be there. We'll have our remote right here. It has all of your favorite features, including remote start. I know that's a favorite for everybody. If you panic, hit the button right there. You know what else is here. A nice, small, compact remote, but it definitely gets the job done. All-wheel drive, and you're going to have specifically tuned suspension for the TrailSport trim level here. It's tuned to handle more of a rugged off-road experience. Not major off-roading, but you know what? If you're on rough terrain, it's definitely going to get the job done for you and help you out. And not even that, but situations such as dealing with snow and slick roads and things like that with all-wheel drive, you're good. You also have your all-terrain tires here, something else that's different. 265 will be the width, a 60 series sidewall wrapped around the 18-inch wheels, and yes, you do have a spare tire. And with our side view mirrors, there's a few things to talk about here. Turn signal indicators built in. I know the sun's kind of drowning that out a little bit. You can't really see it as well, but they are there. Gloss black mirror caps. They're power adjusting. They're heated. There's another great safety feature that I know a lot of you like, and that's going to be your blind spot information system. Now, I'm going to push this button right here. Another great feature of the side view mirrors is that they're also power folding. By the way, going back to that remote, it is a proximity key. It has the walk-away auto lock feature. That's going to be beneficial to everybody. I know a lot of people like that. And if you're looking to increase your cargo capacity, you have the roof rails with the crossbars up there. That's going to help out in that area quite a bit as well. And also underbody protection for helping out when driving off-road, sometimes when driving on-road. You never know what you might encounter where that could come in handy. And we finish things off here. There's the Pilot name on the rear. We're going to have the hitch receiver right there. You can tow with this model, and the TrailSport logo. Let's talk about what motivates this Pilot to get down the road and see what you think about that. For that person who says, Tom, I just want something that has enough horsepower to get the job done and it's naturally aspirated. Good news. We have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter dual overhead cam V6 right here. It makes 285 horsepower and 262 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Let's go over here and take a look at the MPGs. I don't know how well you can see it with a little bit of glare, so I'll tell you what it says. 18 city, 23 highway, 20 combined, and 5 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Speaking of the gas tank, something I also like to do is talk about the gas tank size. In this case, it's going to be 18.5 gallons. You do have capless fuel fill here. I know some people like that, some people don't. But something else that I like to show is that when you lock the interior on the vehicle, I'm going to do that real fast here. We're going to hit the button right there, is that the gas door will be locked when your interior is locked. One more thing I wanted to show you on these power folding side view mirrors in case somebody has the question, do they fold when you lock the interior There is the answer to that question. Yes, they do. When you have all-wheel drive with the Honda Pilot, you can tow up to 5,000 pounds. We do have a power tailgate here with multiple options to open it, whether it's the button on the tailgate, the button on the remote. There's also a button in the interior. And we're looking at 18.6 cubic feet. That's what's going to be back here in this area. Now, I'm going to lower the rear seats right here. Let's do that. I'll show you an important little trick. Notice right here, you have a Velcro tab. Make sure you Velcro that strap, let's get untongue twisted there, down. Otherwise, it doesn't flop forward where you have to reach way up there and get it, or get it through the door right there. That just makes things a lot easier. When you lower these rear seats down, you increase your cargo capacity from 18.6 to 48.5 cubic feet. But that's not all we can do. And when you lower everything down and you have a completely flat floor back here, you're going to have 87 cubic feet of cargo capacity. If you need some connectivity, there's a 12-volt power outlet right here. And we also have a little bit more storage on this area, this little compartment right here. Now, let's see here if we can do this one-handed. I don't know if I can or not. We'll see. But underneath the floor, you find some space. There's actually quite a bit there. The thing I like is that, let's say you're hauling something back here and you don't want to get this carpet dirty or stained or whatever the case is. Here's where we find out if I'm talented enough to do this one-handed or not. You have a double-sided floor. So here's the good news. If you have whatever that item is that you're hauling in the rear, you can always turn this over to the plastic side and you won't have to worry about staining any carpet or getting anything dirty. You can easily clean that off if anything gets on it. Before we hop into the interior, one more question to be answered about these rear seats. Do they recline? Yes, they do. Okay, one more thing before we hop into the interior, but I think it's important to show this. Let's say you come back here and say that rear door height, the tailgate height, is too high, or maybe it's too low. It's very easy to reset. All you have to do is pull it down like this. You'll notice right here it says hold to set height. So we hold the button down and listen for the beeps. You're going to get those two beeps, and we're going to close that back down. You can always change the position of the tailgate no matter what you need to do with that. It's very easy to do. You just push it into the position where you want it, and then hold the button down again, and you can reset that. Super simple to do. But just so you can see how that works, in case somebody had that question, there's the answer. And like I promised, we're finally going to get into the interior. It just took a minute to get there because there was a couple of things to show you before we did. Here is the shade that rear seat passengers, or should I say middle row passengers, can use for privacy or just to maybe decrease the amount of sun coming in. That helps out there. Nice large armrest. I always like an armrest that is completely flat. This is good. We have the upper door bin right here, a little bit of storage space here and a couple of cup holders here, and the lower door bin down there. Nice use of space by Honda. Now, as far as rear leg room goes for your rear seat passengers, the third row back there, you can see that I have the left side seat over there on the driver's side all the way forward. The seat over here on the passenger side or the right-hand side is all the way back. So there is quite a difference between the two. Gaining access to the third row is actually very simple. You just push that button right there and the seat gets up and out of the way. Might have to push that just a little bit to get it all the way out of the way, but that's what we have where that's concerned. Now, this seat it comes back to about right there, so it can be a little bit tight back here for third row passengers, but it's not terrible. The headroom, well, let's take a look for ourselves and see. I'm 5'10". I have quite a bit of headroom actually, and I could increase that by lowering or reclining the seats back here, and that would help. So let's see what the space is like over here with the seat all the way forward. I don't know how practical it is to have the seat that far forward, but that's where it is if you're curious to know. Now, this model does not have the middle seat. There is a seat that can go there, but this one doesn't have it. That is removable, by the way. So that's nice to know, but this one just doesn't have that seat. So no big deal, but that's the way it was ordered and optioned out. Cup holders, we're going to have the air conditioning vent right here and a USB port. We're going to have the same thing on both sides. I'll go ahead and swing over here and show you what we have just so you can see that I'm not lying to you. It's here. And then We also have the panoramic sunroof. There is a power shade that can be drawn forward if there's too much light coming into the interior or whatever the situation is. And that front portion will tilt and slide open. Before we hop into the second row, there's one thing I did want to make sure I told you about. I don't remember if I said it earlier or not. One other difference beyond what I've already told you about the TrailSport trim level from other Pilot trim levels is that you also have an additional inch of ground clearance. I know it's just an inch, but you never know when that might be helpful. These seats do recline, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that okay. The seat over there on the right-hand side, the passenger side, is not reclined. This one is. I better be careful because it's comfortable and I might fall asleep. Something I like here that Honda has that you're not going to see in too many other vehicles is the cell phone holder right here, or whatever will fit, could fit in there as well. Conventional seat pockets, and we're going to have that on both sides. The armrests here actually do a pretty good job in my opinion because they're a little longer than they are in most vehicles. Most of the time it's about like that, and that's how much wrist you have hanging off of there. I can actually put my arm pretty far back, so good for Honda. You can see they've done exactly what I've recommended that other automakers do. Make the armrest as tall as the seat back right there, and that should take care of that problem. We'll also find more air conditioning vents here on the rear of the center console, and you do have your third zone of the tri-zone climate control in this Pilot here on the rear of the center console. You can control everything from fan speed to temperature. We have a power outlet right here, and we have a couple of USB options. Quite a bit going on back here for your rear seat passengers. Also, the oh crap handles are here. I don't know that anybody's going to say oh crap and grab the handles on 280 horsepower, but you never know. If you wanted to come buy this 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport, how much would it cost? $51,250 is the sticker price. Let's see what else you get for the price. Now, as far as some of the additions here, we do have the TrailSport all-weather floor mats right there. We also have the orange contrast stitching and the TrailSport logo stitched into the headrest. One thing that I think would be beneficial, maybe add some value, maybe not so much beneficial, but added value, is putting that TrailSport logo on all of the headrests. I don't know why it's only on the front. Just my thought on the matter. Probably not a big deal to most people. Now, let's talk about the seats here. You have power adjustable seats for the driver and the passenger. The only differences between these seats is that the passenger seat does not raise and lower, and it does not have lumbar support. However, you will find all of that with the driver's seat. I like Honda's use of the space up here, just additional space that a lot of automakers haven't used in the past, but I'm seeing more and more doing that now. And your traditional glove box down here that never has any gloves in it, but that's what it's called. Large door bin and armrest on the driver and passenger side doors. You'll still have that upper and lower door bin setup. I like the way that works. And quite a bit going on here with the driver's side door. We're going to have our buttons for our power windows. You can lock and unlock the windows, the door locks, and you can control the positioning of your power side view mirrors. And you saw the button right there earlier that allowed me to fold and unfold those power folding side view mirrors. There's that third button I mentioned that you can use for opening and closing your power tailgate, traction control right there. You can turn that on and off, and the lever right here, if you drop that down like that, then you can adjust the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. Here is everything for your adaptive cruise control, and then some of your other controls here for volume, radio station, voice commands, and we'll talk about these two buttons, or scroll wheel and button, in just a second. And it's also a heated steering wheel. I'm still waiting to see an automotive manufacturer have a ventilated steering wheel. During the summer, that can be very useful. It just makes sense to me that that would be a good idea. Tell me what you think about that. Now, let's talk about the instrument cluster. It has a nice modern design to it, and via these controls right here, we can go hit the home button. If you don't see everything that's over here on the left-hand side, well, hit that home button and it will all come up. And you use that scroll wheel to get through the menu right there. Push on the scroll wheel and it will bring you to whatever the screen is that's behind that option, and then you can hit home and go back. Pretty easy to deal with, pretty easy to figure out. Shift your paddles here to work your way back and forth through the 10-speed automatic transmission. And a public service announcement, there is no Surgeon General's warning that says using your turn signals is hazardous to your health, believe it or not. Yeah, if you made it to this point in the video, you've got to have some comic relief. Thanks for watching to this point. I do appreciate that. Yes, it's funny. Just laugh. Give me a courtesy laugh. Okay, back to non-laughable things. Your headlights right there, tail lights, and you turn your fog lights on and off right here. You can just set it and forget it, as the saying goes, on the lighting, with the exception of the fog lights. You can set that to auto. Now there's quite a bit going on right here with this lever. We're going to visit it twice. So our first visit, we have everything here for our front and rear window wipers. We'll get right back to that shortly. There's your button to turn the engine on and off, and this is the 9-inch touchscreen. Some people say it's too small. What do you think? But it is very, very easy to use. Wireless capabilities for pairing your smartphone. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you want to get everyone's attention, you can go in here and use Cabin Talk, which is very interesting. I'd love to see the reaction of the kids if they're not paying attention and have something in their ears and all of a sudden they can't hear anything but you because it's so loud. I don't know if it would be loud enough depending on what they're listening to. How about vehicle settings? So some really good things here. I like the graphics. I like the way everything looks. It's easy to know what it is you're looking for. In fact, if for some reason your power tailgate isn't opening, here's where you need to come to check that and make sure that on is selected instead of off. Now, if the battery dies on the vehicle, it will still open manually. So that's not a problem in case anybody was wondering about that. That's always useful information. We have our system settings right here, general settings, I should say. And you can see everything that is there as far as connections, display, sound. You can see what all is there. But that's not all we have. Back to the lever right here. This button, what exactly happens when you push that button? You get to see all of your different camera views. You don't have to go into reverse to get these views or anything like that. You can check your surroundings, but you have multiple views. The overhead view. You also have the front view, which is what we're looking at right now. There is the trail cam. Go back to that for just a minute so you can see that. It's a wider view, so that's nice to have. We also have our view through the side view mirrors. You can also increase that if you want to, and that's going to be nice. You can get rid of that by pushing that button one more time if you want to. Now, if we go into reverse, you can see that you still have that overhead 360-degree view, and you also have your backup camera. You have your trajectory lines right there. It just makes things super easy to deal with. I really like that. I would like to see this on more Honda vehicles than we currently have it right now. So we'll see what comes in the future. Tell Honda what you think about that down in the comments section. And right here, we have the good old-fashioned knob for turning the radio on and off and adjusting the volume. Here is your hazard lights button if you need that. And your dual zone climate control here in the front. There are your 3 stages of your heated seats for the driver and the passenger seats. That's pretty easy to figure out. If you need to go to change the rear settings, you can do that from right there. If you want to do it from the driver's seat, we have a little bit of storage right here. Phone can still fit there. Some phones may not be able to fit. They may be too wide now, I'm not sure. But that is what you can put right there if you want to. A couple of USB options, another 12-volt power outlet, and a wireless charging pad. Personally, this is my recommendation. If they move this one over just a tiny bit, there is a little bit of room left there. You could have 2 wireless charging pads there. How many of you would like to see that? What do you think? And our push button shifter is here. You have all of your different driving modes. In fact, let's go through those driving modes. We'll see what all we have here. So you're going to default to normal. We have Econ. There's normal where we start. And Econ you've seen. We have snow mode. For you that get a lot of snow, the all-wheel drive TrailSport will be very helpful for that. You have trail. And notice when you bring trail up, you're going to get the trail cam. And so that's going to be useful. If you're curious about that, that trail cam goes off at, if I remember, 15 miles per hour. I was going to say 10, but I'm pretty sure it's 15. Somebody can verify that down in the comment section. I guarantee you they will. Sand and tow mode. So you also have sequential mode, which you go into right here. So we have drive. You're going to have the D down there. When I push that button one more time, it goes into S for sequential mode. You will also find your power parking brake here and brake hold mode if you want to turn that on or off. Auto stop start, or idle stop as Honda calls it, you can turn that on or off depending on what you want right there, and hill start assist right there. Now, one thing that's different we've had for the last few years now is that we no longer have those fold down armrests here. What do you think? The center console lid is now the armrest for the driver and the passenger. Personally, I like that more myself than the built-in armrest into the seats. Tell me what your thoughts are where that is concerned. And there's plenty of room within the center console, quite a bit of storage space throughout the interior of the Pilot. And right there is going to be your upper console. You can see what all is there. Here's how we control the shade and the sunroof. And finally, there's the conversation mirror. If cabin talk doesn't get their attention, maybe the angry eyes will, or the kind eyes. I don't know, whichever is necessary. And it's also a sunglass holder. It's a multitasker. And what about the experience of driving the Pilot TrailSport? I know one question a lot of people are going to have. How is the ride quality? I can tell no difference. As far as the ride quality itself goes, it seems to be just as comfortable as any other Pilot that I've driven in the past. So you don't have any issues where that's concerned, even with the little bit of a different tune on the suspension and the all-terrain tires. So that's a good thing for everybody. Obviously, you want a good, comfortable ride quality. The seats themselves are comfortable too, which complements the nice, comfortable ride quality. That's always a nice balance. Some vehicles, you have comfortable seats or you have a good ride quality from the shocks and suspension, but one or the other isn't comfortable. It doesn't really work very well because they don't balance each other out, so to speak. And you've probably had that experience. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. Very spacious here, especially in the front seat. The second row is pretty spacious too. A little bit of a lacking space maybe in that third row back there, but it's not terrible. I think that adults could be just fine back there for a while. Maybe not a super duper long road trip, but then again, you never know. It just depends on how those seats are set back there in the in the second row. And easy to see out of. You do have your blind spot monitoring, so you do have a little bit of a blind spot when you look over your right shoulder, but overall, not really a big deal. But like I say, with that blind spot information system that Honda has here, it's not an issue. So that's always nice to have. And the technology here is easy to use. It's easy to learn. That's always a good thing, especially for those of you who maybe haven't had a new vehicle in a while and you know it's time, and you're saying, you know, Tom, I know it's time for my next vehicle, but I'm just not so sure about having all those different things that I've never had before. I probably won't use all of it. Well, you might be surprised when it comes down to it. You might use a lot more of it than you realize. And keep in mind, if you don't learn everything about what you have here as far as your technology goes at the dealership, you're right now in the perfect place to do that, because there are so many great tutorials here on YouTube that I've made and that other creators have made that make it simple to learn about all of this technology. So many different things you can do. It's actually quite simple once you start using it. So a well-balanced vehicle, that's for sure, in a multitude of ways. Steering wheel nice and comfortable, brake pedal and gas pedal easy to manage. I think it's a very well-balanced vehicle, but tell me, what would you like to see come in the future for the Honda Pilot? Okay, tell me what you think down in the comments section. Is the 2025 Honda Pilot TrailSport the most versatile Pilot trim level? Tell me what your thoughts are. And for those who want the side profile view, here is your opportunity to see that. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Holmes Honda for loaning me this Pilot for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe, that way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would, please share this video on your timelines. That way other people can see it. If you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.